Lorenz Larkin and Javier Carvalho. This fight is a middleweight fight. I'm at Bellator 258, Archuleta versus Pettis. I'm going to say right now, probably 50-50 chance one of these two men in the middleweight division is going to get a knockout. I mean, both fighters literally have more than half of their wins coming by KO or TK. You look right here, Lorenz Larkin, 22 wins and 7 losses, 11 knockout wins, 11 decision wins, and 2 knockout losses on his record so far, beating some amazing fighters inside of the UFC like Jorge Masvidal, Robbie Lawler, Chris Camazzi, Santiago Ponzinibbio, Neil Magny. I mean, all these guys inside the UFC. And then right now, on a 4-fight win streak inside of Bellator, so much power, but he's going to be much smaller than Javier Carvalho. And then his reach is also much smaller than Javier Carvalho's, as Javier Carvalho will have a 4-inch height advantage and a 5.5-inch reach advantage in the fight. Also has a lot of power in his hands. Out of 16 pro MMA wins, 12 of them coming by knockout in the first or second round, and then 4 wins coming by decision. So most likely, like a 50-50 chance, I see this fight ending in the first or second round. Both fighters have a lot of power in their hands and in their feet as well. They're both 34.5 years old as well. With the first fight on the fight card, they might switch it around a little bit and kind of switch where the fight will take place on the fight card. But for right now, it is the first fight on the fight card. Lorenz Larkin and Javier Carvalho. Both fighters are definitely going to be strikers right here. Lorenz Larkin is really powerful. And guess what, guys? Javier Carvalho is taking the fight on like 1 week, 1.5 weeks notice in the fight. So he's not going to have that training camp, that full training camp against Lorenz Larkin, which is definitely a good advantage for Lorenz Larkin to have in the fight. Amazing strike. I mean, he beat guys like Robbie Lawler, Chris Camazzi, Santiago Ponzinibbio, the BMF holder in Jorge Masvidal, and Neil Magny. I mean, amazing striking from Lorenz Larkin. Really good takedown defense as well, with 80% takedown defense inside of the UFC, and then a really good striking defense as well as 65%. Half of his fights being knockouts, and the other half being by decision, with 0 wins coming by submission. But amazing submission defense as well, with 0 submission losses on his record as well. He likes to attack that lead leg in the outside leg case in the early rounds as well. Very good straight punches, very powerful. Does not like to curve his punches. He likes to have them more straight and more powerful and more fast. I mean, his punches are so fast, and amazing elbows in the clinch as well, and amazing ground and pound as well. The one thing I really like about Lorenz Larkin is his pressure against the cage with uppercuts and knees and straight right hands and jabs over and over again. The knees are right down the middle. I mean, that is going to be a humongous advantage for Lorenz Larkin in the clinch in the fight. If he pressures Javier Carvalho to the back and gets his back to the cage, Lorenz Larkin is just going to unload on strikes on Javier Carvalho and possibly get a knockout here. I think that this one is going to be probably, if Lorenz Larkin gets a knockout, it would be when Javier Carvalho gets his back to the cage, and if Javier Carvalho gets a knockout, it'd probably be more at range, getting a kick, a body kick, a head kick, something like that. But Javier Carvalho also 12 of his 16 wins coming by knockout. Really good kickboxing skills and really good knees to the body as well. Very tall and very lengthy, having really big advantages in the height and reach department as well. Very powerful knees to the body as well. 4 knockout wins that go into the body with kicks, with knees, to punches to the body as well. Very good kicks at range. He's really good at range considering the height and reach advantage that he's usually going to be having in most of his fights. Very powerful straight left hand as well. Insane reach advantage as well, man. Really good hammer fist, ground and pound. I don't really see the fight going to the ground, so I don't really see the ground and pound really playing that big of a factor in this fight right here. But very fast, sharp punches against the cage as well. But obviously the one that's gonna have that cage and that clinch advantage, which 100% be Lorenz Larkin in the fight, and some pretty decent wrestling skills as well. I don't really think either fighter will have that much of a wrestling. They won't really the wrestling game and the grappling game will not really play a factor from either fight in the fight. I think this fight will definitely be spent in the striking game and in the clinch 100%. They both have a lot of power in their hands as well. I think most likely, if we see a finish from Javier Carvalho, it would be at range, and if Lorenz Larkin wins a fight by knockout, it would be in the clinch. But the power advantage and the strength advantage obviously going to Lorenz Larkin. The experience advantage going to Lorenz Larkin as well. I mean, the speed advantage going to Lorenz Larkin as well. The kickboxing advantage probably going to Javier Carvalho. And the striking advantage at range going to Javier Carvalho. It's a very even fight. I think I'm probably going to be leaning towards Lorenz Larkin just a little bit because even at range, he does really good. I mean, inside of the UFC, fighting Robbie Lawler, fighting all these really good guys like Neil Magny, who's very long for the division. I mean, you look at Neil Magny's height and reach, 6 foot 3 inches tall, 80-inch reach, and he ended up knocking him out in the first round. Has a similar height and a similar reach to that of Rafael Carvalho, and he ended up going out there and knocking out Neil Magny, just pressuring him against the cage and then getting that knockout in the very first round. I think we will see a similar thing happen here between Lorenz Larkin and Rafael Carvalho, where Lorenz Larkin is just pressuring over and over and over again, and eventually is going to land that big right hand, either stunning him or putting him away in the very first round. I think it's very, very likely we will see a finish from one of these two guys, but I think the fight will go all the way. We haven't seen much of finishing abilities in his last couple of fights. Decision win, and a decision win. So I think this fight will go all the way. Lorenz Larkin just pressuring the heck out of Rafael Carvalho right here and winning the fight by 30-27 unanimous decision. This should be a really, really good fight right there in the middleweight division. After that, guys, we have a former title challenger, 13 wins and only 1 loss with Albert Morales. Patchy makes only 27 and a half years old. Very tall, not too lengthy, but very, very tall for the division as well. A 2-inch height advantage, but a 2-inch reach disadvantage in the fight. A little bit younger, coming in with a devastating loss in a main event fight in Bellator 246 against Juan Archuleta, losing the fight by unanimous decision. Before that, the man was on an absolute tear. You look at how many of his wins come by submission: 9 submission wins, 1 knockout win, and 3 decision wins. As an amateur, a buttload of rear naked chokes. I mean, rear naked, over and over and over again. I mean, his submission skills are really, really good. Morales, 10 wins, 6 losses, and 1 draw. One thing I will kind of put out there to you guys, he's also taking the fight on short notice. You look right here. Let's see if I can find it. Patchy Mix was supposed to fight James Gallagher, but Albert Morales stepping in on 2 weeks' notice. Again, which means he's not going to have that full training camp as well. But he's mainly going to be a striker right here. I don't think he wants any of the smoke in the grappling and wrestling game with a guy like Patchy Mix, 100%. But 4 knockout wins, 4 submission wins, and 2 decision wins. Let's see if we can get this right here. Patchy Mix is definitely going to be the grappler, trying to get the fight to the ground as soon as possible. Really solid submission skills, and 9 of 14 wins coming by submission, mainly in the first and second round. So he's trying to go out there really, really fast, get you down, get you back, choke you out, or break your arm. Something in that realm of this fight right here. Really good choke submission with 5 of his 9 submissions coming by rear naked choke submission, and most of the other wins coming by guillotine. So most of his wins being choke submission wins. If he can manage to get you down, he's going to dominate you for 3 straight rounds, or get the submission win and win the fight by 30-26 or 30-27 unanimous decision. Obviously, really, really good wrestling and a really good grappling is going to have the advantage in the grappling, in the clinch, in the wrestling, everything like that, everything in the ground. He's going to have the advantage 100%. But here's one thing that I'm going to be really, really strict about on Albert Morales. He kind of tends to overcommit on his right hand just a little bit. And if you overcommit on a guy like Patchy Mix, he's going to change levels, go down, and go for that double leg, get it down, and it's going to be all over from then on if he gets that double leg takedown, which Albert Morales is probably going to get taken down like multiple, 4 or 5, maybe 6 times in the fight. But he's probably going to get dominated in the grappling and wrestling game. I don't really see much of an opportunity for Albert Morales to win the fight other than getting a 1-2 knockout win on Patchy Mix, or getting a somehow getting a submission from the bottom. But either way, I think Patchy Mix will dominate the fight in the grappling and wrestling game. Get him down every single one of these rounds, and most likely get his back in the second round. In my opinion, I have Patchy Mix winning the fight by submission in the second round by rear and naked choke submission. But definitely have Patchy Mix winning the fight by submission right there. After that, guys, I'm super confident in Logan Storley right here, taking on Omar Hussein in the welterweight division. I'm gonna say right now, I don't really even need to look at Omar Hussein's film. I did look at a lot of his film so far, but the wrestling and the grappling of Logan Storley is amazing. Coming off a loss in the last fight to Yaroslav Amosov by split decision, and Yaroslav Amosov is about to fight for the belt against Douglas Lima. So he's 1 fight away from fighting for the belt inside of Bellator for the welterweight division. Before that, was doing amazing with 8 TKO wins and 3 decision wins on his record so far. The man's an absolute beast. He gets you down, he TKOs you, or he dominates you there and dominates for 3 straight rounds. Omar Hussein, 25 years old, a little bit taller, pretty good striking as well. You look right here, 2 knockout wins, 2 submission wins, and 4 decision wins. His main hope, keep the fight on the feet, get a knockout, or just kind of defend all the takedowns and win the fight by decision. Again, it's going to be so hard for a guy like Omar Hussein to defend all the takedowns from Logan Storley, because Logan Storley is an amazing wrestler, super strong. I mean, he's also taking the fight on short notice, which is yet another disadvantage for Omar Hussein in the fight, and another advantage for Logan Storley, who already has the strength advantage, the wrestling advantage, the grappling advantage, the ground and pound advantage. He has so much advantages in the wrestling and grappling game so far. So There's just no real way I really see Omar Hussein winning the fight other than getting a knockout in the first or second round. But I think Logan Sterling can go out there, get a takedown over and over and over again, eventually landing enough ground and pound shots to do what he always does, like he did 8 other times, getting TKO wins in the first or second round. So I think 100% Logan Sterling is gonna go out there and get yet another KO or TKO win in the first or second round. I think he's 100% gonna win the fight. So Logan Sterling winning the fight on my first or second round TKO. After that fight right there, we have Eric Perez and Blaine Shutt. This fight is a bantamweight fight right here. Eric Perez, 31 and a half years old, a little bit taller, a little bit longer of a fighter. But Blaine Shutt, 8 wins, 4 losses. Again, how much times do I have to say? All these guys right here are taking their fights on short notice, and so is Blaine Shutt. Eric Perez was supposed to fight Brian Moore, but now is fighting Blaine Shutt on short notice. Again, another disadvantage for Blaine Shutt in the fight, taking the fight on short notice, not having that full training camp as well. 8 wins and 4 losses right here. Look at how he wins his fights. 6 submission wins and 2 decision wins. But Eric Perez mainly going to be a striker with some really good submission and grappling skills as well. 8 submission wins and 5 knockout wins with 6 decision wins on his record so far. I think Eric Perez is 100% going to have the power advantage and is 100% going to have the striking advantage. And if you look at who he's beaten inside of the UFC so far, I mean, his record inside the UFC: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins and only 2 losses inside the UFC. So he was doing really good right there. But Eric Perez is an MMA fighter, overall a very good fighter in the wrestling, in the grappling, in the striking. Everywhere you look at this man, he's a solid fighter in every facet of the game. But again, he's gonna have that advantage that that Blaine Shutt is not gonna have that full training camp. But 7 wins, 2 losses inside of the UFC, which is really good. Has very good submission and grappling skills with 8 submission wins so far. Mainly coming by armbar submission or rear naked choke submission. But he's not even mainly a submission type of guy. He's just has really good submission skills along with his really good powerful striking as well. Good wrestling skills as well, averaging 3 takedowns in every single fight inside the UFC as well. Most of the strikes that landing are ground and pound strikes, takes it down, and he just ground and pounds the heck out of you. And in the clinch also lands a lot of good shots in the fight. The really good top control after he gets a takedown on you. Very powerful straight right hand counter as well. He's always moving forward. That's the one thing I love about Eric Perez. He's never looking to counter. He's not looking to go backwards and just try to get a shot in and just keep on moving backwards and backwards. He is going forward and he's trying to get you and pressure you over and over again and try to get that knockout, try to get that finish in the first or second round. I love how he pressures his opponents to the cage. That is going to be a humongous advantage for Eric Perez in the fight, 100%. But Blaine Shutt is a wrestler and a grappler, 100%. Really good wrestling, really good grappling skills, having 6 submission wins on his record so far, mainly by rear and naked choke submission and triangle choke submission. But again, Eric Perez also has really good submission skills. I don't necessarily think that Blaine Shutt will have the grappling advantage here. I think the grappling and the wrestling will be very even. I think Eric Perez is a little bit stronger of a fighter, a more powerful striker as well, better ground and pound, stronger fighter, I already said that as well, a faster fighter in the striking game. Maybe Blaine Shutt has more options to get a submission from the bottom, more options to get a submission on the ground as well. But overall, Eric Perez has the striking advantage, the power advantage, the strength advantage, the wrestling advantage, I mean, the ground and pound advantage. There's so many advantages Eric Perez will have in the fight. I wouldn't be surprised if Eric Perez plays more of a wrestling and grappling game, just trying to use his strength and get on top of Blaine Shutt and just stay there and just ground and pound and win the fight by decision. But I would not also be surprised if he keeps the fight on the feet and makes a striking fight and wins the fight by decision, possibly getting a knockout here as well. But I think the fight will go all the way. In this fight, most likely will stay on the feet, and a couple of times we will see Eric Perez go for takedowns and get on top of Blaine Shutt and get some ground and pound shots as well. But overall, in the striking game, in the clinch, in the grappling game, in the wrestling game, in the ground and pound, everything is going, in my opinion, for Eric Perez to win the fight. So I'm 100%, I'm doing Eric Perez to go out there and win the fight by 30-27 unanimous decision. After that, guys, we have yet another fight on short notice. How many times are these fights going to be on short notice? Johnny Campbell stepping in on short notice, supposed to fight Keith Lee on the fight card. But now we have a short notice, a bantamweight fight right here. Henry Corrales, 34 and a half years old, 5'8" inches tall, and a 70-inch reach. So he's going to have a little bit of a reach advantage and a little bit of a height advantage. No real age advantage for either fighter, both being 34 years old right here. If you look at Henry Corrales, 18 wins and 5 losses. How many of his wins come by knockout? 7 knockout wins, 6 submission wins, and 5 decision wins. Out of his submission wins, most of them coming at the beginning of his career, like Kimura and guillotine choke submission. Since then, has become way more of a striker, with a lot of knockout wins recently over Aaron Pico in the very first round, a third round knockout win, a third round body shot knockout win, fighting Patricio Pablo, Daniel Strauss, Emmanuel Sanchez, all these guys inside of Bellator. Johnny Campbell, 20 wins and 13 losses right here. Coming off a loss and joining Bellator for the first time right here. 20 wins and 13 losses, 8 knockout wins, 6 submission wins, and 6 decision wins as well. Let's show right here. Henry Corrales is definitely going to be a striker in the fight. Much taller and much lengthier. A 2-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage in the fight as well. Very, very good power in his hands, with most of his wins coming by KO or TKO in the first or second round. And very hard body shots. He has 2 wins on his record with the right hand to the body, and he just ended up finishing his opponent. Absolutely insane. Amazing outside leg kicks in the first and second round. Trying to pay dividends in the later rounds in the fight. Super powerful counter left hook. You look at the fight with Aaron Pico. I mean, he went absolutely insane. A 3-4-3 combination, knocking him out cold in the very first round. Very good uppercuts and knees in the clinch as well. Solid takedown and submission defense as well. And some pretty good wrestling and grappling of his own for sure. And tight guillotines from the bottom as well from Henry Corrales, 100%. But Johnny Campbell also is another one of the strikers with very, very powerful hands and kicks. 8 knockout wins so far on his record. Trying to get that 1-2 over and over and over again. Kind of reminds me of Sean Strickland in the middleweight division inside of the UFC. With his main weapon just being that 1-2 combination over and over and over again. But he also has a very, very good combinations and 1-2-1 and the flying knee. He just goes 1-2-1 and throws up that flying knee, which is just absolutely insane. Has 2 flying knee knockout wins on his record. I mean, who in the world has 2 flying knees? That is just absolutely insane. The really good head movement as well. He tends to kind of play around with his opponents a little bit. Keep his hands down, kind of like a Yuri Prochazka, and just kind of dodge the shots like that. But that's going to be really, really dangerous fighting a guy like Henry Corrales, who has a lot of power in his hands, and really good takedown defense as well from Johnny Campbell. The very explosive striker, really good power, and I mean, he's insane. He goes for flying knees, flying kicks. I mean, he just throws so many weird combinations in his fights, but in this fight, whoever has the better striking will win the fight. And Henry Corrales is a little bit stronger, a little bit more powerful, a little bit faster as well, has better combinations in my opinion. Johnny Campbell may have a little bit better head movement than Henry Corrales, who's going to be landing the bulk of the strikes that are actually going to be damaging to their opponents. Would 100% be Henry Corrales right here. I think Henry Corrales has a humongous chance of winning the fight by knockout right here. Very likely we see a knockout or a submission from either fighter in the fight, but Henry Corrales fighting so many amazing fighters inside of Bellator, like Darren Caldwell, Juan Archuleta, Patricio Pablo, Emmanuel Sanchez, and Daniel Strauss. I mean, those are his only losses. All guys who have either fought for the belt or have held the belt inside of their career so far. I mean, he's just an absolute beast. A really good striking, really good wrestling, really good grappling, super strong, really powerful, and a really, really fast striker as well. So I will be going with Henry Corrales to go out there and just dominate the fight in the striking game, defend whatever takedowns happen in the fight, and overall catch Johnny Campbell with a big right hand, put him down, and end up finishing the fight in the second round with ground and pound shots. So I think either way, he finishes the fight in the second round by TKO, or goes out there and dominates every single one of the rounds and wins the fight by 30-27 unanimous decision. But 100% Henry Corrales winning that fight right there. After that, guys, we have Weber Almeida and Johnny Soto. I feel so bad for Johnny Soto right here in the featherweight division. I'm going to say right now, I have Weber Almeida going out there and getting a knockout in the first or second round. A little bit smaller, a little bit less of a reach than Johnny Soto, but the man's got power. I mean, he is so fast, so precise, so accurate, and he's so powerful as well. First round knockout win, joined Bellator in 2019. First round a head kick knockout win, counter left hook knockout win, and then counter right hook knockout win. Absolutely insane. Johnny Soto, 3 wins and 1 loss, 28.5 years old. First round rear naked, guillotine, and a knockout win right there. 1-16, 0-1, and 0-3. fighting bums. That is, and then losing a guy that's 0-1. I mean, that is just absolutely insane. Johnny Soto has not fought any legit competition so far in his career. I mean, this fight with Weber Almeida is going to be his biggest test of his career so far. He's never fought a striker with this much skills on the feet. I mean, all of his wins coming by knockout. He's just an absolutely super kickboxing skills, really good head kicks, really good body kicks, really powerful straight left hands, and his counter shots are really, really good. He's an amazing counter puncher as well. Johnny Soto, grappler-ish, not really the best striking, not really the best grappling. I just don't really see much of a chance for Johnny Soto to win the fight, but if it just so happens that Johnny Soto goes out there and gets a submission, gets a knockout, whatever the case may be, come back on this video and roast me in the comments, because I do not think that Johnny Soto has one chance to win this fight against Weber Almeida. I mean, Weber is just so powerful, such amazing kickboxing, really, really good scrambling abilities, and really good sprawls, and really good takedown defense as well. I think overall, wherever the fight goes, in the clinch, in the wrestling, in the grappling, especially in the striking, Weber Almeida will have the advantage 100%. So, in this fight right here, I 100% have Weber Almeida going out there and winning the fight by knockout in the first or second round. After that fight, we have Johnny Eblen and then Daniel Madrid. This fight is a middleweight fight. Johnny Eblen is literally an undefeated fighter with 7 wins and 0 losses. Way younger. Is going to have a humongous wrestling advantage in the fight and a humongous age advantage, along with not the reach advantage, not the height advantage, but is going to have that humongous age advantage in the fight, being like 7 years younger than Daniel Madrid right here, who is almost 40 years old. Going to be a little bit taller, a little bit longer of a fighter in this middleweight division right here, and he has a lot of experience with 18 wins and 6 losses so far. Joining the LFA in 2019, doing really good, getting a first on guillotine and a first on rear naked, then a decision win inside of Bellator. But you look right here, every single one of his wins, except for like 1, 2, or 3, coming by submission. 15 submission wins, 1 knockout win, 1 decision win, and out of his losses, 3 knockout losses, 2 submission losses, and 1 decision loss. He's trying to go out there and he's trying to submit you. That's a pretty obvious thing that Daniel Madrid is trying to do in the fight. But Johnny Eblen, amazing wrestling skills. And look right here, first knockout win, first on guillotine, first on knockout, and first on knockout win. All these fights right here, I mean, he just took his opponent down and absolutely ground him, pounded the heck out of them. Either got the submission or ended up making them tap due to strikes. You go way down here to how he's winning the fights. You see 4 wins by submission. That's because every single one of these fights are right here, all these knockout wins right here, every single one of them, he made his opponents tap to strikes, which is making it seem like he got 3 or 4 submission wins on his record and 0 knockout wins. But every single one of them, he made his opponents tap to strikes. Insane. I mean, the man's ground and pound is amazing. Really good wrestling and really good power in his hands as well. An amazing ground and pound. Being a D1 college wrestler at Missouri, and his transfer abilities from wrestling to MMA has looked amazing. 4 submission wins, as I just said before. A decent submission game as well, with just trying to get you down, and he's trying to ground and pound the heck out of you. Hopefully, you end up giving him your back, and then he gets that rear naked submission, or just keeps on ground and pounding over and over again, and goes for the TKO win with ground and pound shots as well. Hasn't really been able to showcase his striking in his last fight inside of Bellator. He said he wanted to showcase his striking but couldn't because his wrestling is too good. He literally said that after the fight was over. He said, I wanted to showcase my striking, but my wrestling was too good, and I got him down on the ground too early and ended up dominating him for the rest of the round. That is how dominant his wrestling and grappling is. We don't even know how good his striking is. That is how dominant his wrestling and grappling is. But a very powerful right hand as well from the footage that I've seen in his training footage so far. Daniel Madrid is a veteran grappler, 100%. Main way of him winning the fight would be by submission on the ground. I don't really see other ways of winning the fight other than by submission from the ground, because I don't really see much of a way for Daniel Madrid to get a takedown on top of Johnny Eblen. It's just the main way. Get a guillotine, get an arm triangle, get a triangle, get a rear naked, so whatever the case may be. Just try to get a submission from the ground or reverse position and get on top of Johnny Eblen and get the submission that way. But other than that, Johnny Eblen has a striking advantage, has a power advantage, has a strength advantage, has a speed advantage, has a clinch advantage, has a wrestling advantage, has a ground and pound advantage. I mean, how many more advantages do I need to get for Johnny Eblen in the fight? Only one way, in my opinion, that Daniel Madrid could win the fight by submission, and that would be by submission from the bottom, 100%. But overall, I will be going Johnny Eblen to go out there and wrestle. Go out there, go for takedown after takedown, over and over again, and just ground and pound the heck out of Daniel Madrid and defend all these submissions from the bottom. And overall, I have Johnny Eblen winning the fight by unanimous decision or by first round, a ground and pound TKO, 100%. I have Johnny Eblen winning that fight right there. After that, guys, we have Rafael Stots and Josh Hill. I'm excited for this one. 32.5 years old and 34.5 years old. A humongous reach finish right there. You see 66.5 inch reach right there, and then a 72.5 inch reach. That is a 6-inch reach advantage for Rafael Stots, and then a 1-inch height advantage as well. Humongous advantages right there. Only one loss. Guess who is two? Merab Dvalishvili. That is his only loss by spinning a back fist knockout in 15 seconds right there. Other than that, has looked absolutely amazing with 4 submission wins, 3 knockout wins, and 8 decision wins. The man is just an absolute warrior. Amazing submissions from the bottom, and amazing wrestling defense, amazing submission defense, really good power, really good kickboxing, uses his range very, very well in his fights. Josh Hill, 20 wins and 3 losses. A lot of finishes on his record as well. 4 knockout wins, 4 submission wins, with a lot of decision wins on his record, and then 1 knockout win. The other losses coming by decision right there. But this one's going to be a striking fight in my opinion. Heavy on Stots, really good kickboxing skills as well. A very athletic striker, really good powerful head kicks, and really powerful body kicks as well. And really good leg kicks as well in the first and second round. He does have a solid double leg takedown in the center of the cage. When you overcommit on a right hand, he changes levels and goes for that double leg takedown and gets you down. He also has 4 rear naked choke submission wins, so do not let him get you down, and do not give his back to Rafael Stots, because you're probably going to get submitted by rear naked choke submission. Straight left hand in the middle. Amazing. I mean, his straight left hand is amazing. Front body kicks also really good. Solid wrestling, solid scrambles as well. Really good ground and pound. Really good counter puncher. I mean, being so long as he is, he doesn't really need to be the offensive striker. He can make you kind of overcommit, because you're gonna have that reach and height disadvantage. You're gonna have to overcommit on those strikes, and he can just move his head back a little bit and then counter with a straight right hand or a straight left hand. I mean, he's so good at countering his opponents in this fight so far. He's really powerful and really good countering abilities as well. Really good head movement. That is one thing he's really good at. The fight goes right here. He's just gonna, whoa. His slips are amazing. Only lost to Merab Dvalishvili, a top 10 bantamweight fighter in the absolute world. Absolutely insane. Josh Hill is a wrestler with some pretty good striking as well. Really powerful overhand right, 2 double leg takedown in the center of the cage. Super combination striking, as shown in his last couple of fights against Marlon Rice. I mean, his only 3 losses. You look right here. By split decision to Taylor Lapilus, and then by Marlon Rice by unanimous decision and second round knockout, both in main events. Is at a WSOF. Absolutely insane. But really good trip takedowns against the cage as well, and solid inside leg kicks as well. But do not rush forward on this man, because he's gonna grab your leg and he's gonna take you down. I mean, every single fight I see any of his opponents go for a front kick, a body kick, anything like that. He's so good at just grabbing that leg and pushing it up and getting the takedown. I mean, I don't know how he does it. I mean, they're going really fast kicks, and he just catches it mid-air and gets a takedown. It's just absolutely insane. More than 20 MMA fights, really a lot of experience as well. But in this fight right here, if the fight stays at range, obviously I'm going to go Rafael Stots to win the fight by unanimous decision, or getting knockout in the first or second round. Josh Hill, the main way I see him winning the fight would probably be in the clinch or getting a takedown and get the fight to the ground as soon as possible. But Rafael Stots, his takedown defense, his wrestling, his grappling defense as well is so good. I mean, I've never seen him get dominated by another wrestler, get dominated by another grappler, anything like that. Every single time, he just managed to keep the fight on the feet. I think the exact same thing will happen right here. There will be opportunities for Josh Hill to get a takedown, maybe once or twice in the fight, but overall, Rafael Stots will defend the bulk of the takedowns from Josh Hill and keep the fight on the feet, where he will have the advantage, being way taller and way longer than Josh Hill in the fight. So overall, I think this fight will stay at range, and overall, Rafael Stots will down the fight in the striking, defending takedowns, and overall, Rafael Stots will win the fight by 30-27 unanimous decision. That should be a really good fight right there. After that, guys, we have Michael Venom Page and Derek Anderson. I mean, who does not know Michael Venom Page? MVP. The man has so much power. He's a crazy striker, man. On a 4-5 win streak. Only 1 loss to Douglas Lima around 2 years ago. 18 wins and 1 loss. A lot of finishes and then a lot of wins. Coming by knockout right here. You look at 10 knockout wins, 4 submission wins, and 4 decision wins. His only loss coming by knockout to Douglas Lima about 2 years ago right there. Really tall, really lengthy. A 3-inch reach advantage and a 3-inch height advantage over Derek Anderson right here. Derek Anderson, 17 wins and 3 losses. You look at how he wins his fights: 6 knockout wins, 6 submission wins, and 5 decision wins. If this fight stays on the feet, You already know who's going to have the advantage. Michael Venom Page is going to piece up Derek Anderson in the striking game. I don't really see much of an advantage for Derek Anderson in the striking game or in the clinch game right here. The fight stays in the feet, but Michael Venom Page is going to get a knockout, a flashy flying knee, something crazy like that. So Derek Anderson is going to want to get this fight to the ground as soon as possible. But Michael Venom Page, I mean, obviously, he's going to be a striker, very tall, very lengthy, 3-inch height advantage and a 3-inch reach advantage as well. Very powerful. Most of his wins coming by knockout in the first or second round. Amazing counter right hand, super explosive, 2 flying knees on his record so far. Amazing head movement as well. I mean, you just see him putting his hands way down and just boom, 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 defending all the strikes from his opponents. I mean, his head movement is so good, and he's so powerful. So long, so lengthy, super powerful elbows, and his ground and pound is amazing, man. If he somehow manages to get you down, his elbows are so sharp, and they're probably gonna cut a nice little hole right here in your nose. But yeah, he's just an absolute beast, 100%. Derek Anderson, a striker with good submissions from the bottom, a lot of guillotines, a lot of triangle submissions as well. His main weapon in the striking game is a straight overhand right to body kick. That's the main way he's gonna be landing the shots in the striking game. But again, as I said at the beginning of the video, Michael Page will obviously have the striking advantage in the fight. Solid submission game from the bottom with guillotines, triangle chokes, and obviously dangerous when he's on top of your opponent. Super bloody elbows in the clinch as well. They both have really sharp elbows in the clinch and on the ground with ground and pound shots as well. A good kickboxing, but again, not going to have the boxing or kickboxing advantage over Michael Page right here. But he is very good outside leg kicks, which could play a factor because we saw Michael Page fight Douglas Lima, and his leg was destroyed after that fight. So Derek Anderson needs to implement a lot of leg kicks in the first and second round right here, and then a really good knees to the body as well. So I think Derek Anderson just needs to chop those legs, land a buttload of leg kicks on Michael Page, and if he can actually do some damage with those leg kicks on Michael Page, then it'll 100% increase the chances that Derek Anderson will win the fight. But at range, Michael Page will have the advantage. His striking, his speed, his power, his length, everything at range. So Michael Page will have the advantage 100%. So Derek Anderson will need to close that distance, land a lot of good leg kicks, and get the fight in the clinch and go for takedowns, and just keep on landing those leg kicks over and over again. But it's gonna be a tough task. I mean, the only man that's been able to do that was Douglas Lima, one of the best welterweight fighters in Bellator history. So we'll see what happens right here, but I think Michael Page will keep the fight at range, use his kickboxing, his athleticism, his strength, his speed, his length, everything about Michael Page is just absolutely amazing in these striking games. So I think he will keep the fight at range and win the fight, possibly by first knockout, but most likely, in my opinion, surprisingly, I'm going to say it right now, I think Michael Page will win the fight by 30-27 unanimous decision in the striking game right here, defending whatever takedowns there are, and defending whatever clinch situation there are, and overall, winning the fight by unanimous decision. After that, guys, we've had Patricky Pitbull and Peter Quilley in the lightweight division right here. Patricky Pitbull, 35 years old, very small and very not the best reach advantage over a guy like Peter Quilley, who is so tall and lengthy for the lightweight division. 74.5 inches and 5'9" inches tall, so 2 inches taller, and then a 3.5 inch reach advantage over Patricky Pitbull in the fight. But you look at Patricky Pitbull. He's got power, 23 wins and 9 losses. You look right here, 15 knockout wins, 1 submission win, and 7 decision wins. So much guy staying power from Patricky Pitbull. 2 knockout losses, 1 submission loss, and 6 decision losses. Do not want to keep this fight in the striking game whatsoever. Fighting a guy like Patricky Pitbull, he's going to knock you out with a big straight right hand. I don't know what happened in his last couple of fights. He moved over to Ryzen for a little bit after leaving Bellator, went over to Ryzen, and is coming back to Bellator to fight Peter Quilley right here. Peter Quilley, 12 wins, 5 losses, and 1 draw. Only 2 knockout wins and 10 decision wins and 0 submission wins right here. Not the best power. I mean, only 2 knockout wins. Not the best power. The obvious power advantage going to Patricky Pitbull. Whoever is going to get the finish right here, if there will be a finish, obviously is going to be Patricky Pitbull 100%. But you look at how much power Patricky Pitbull has. I mean, power is all I really got to say for Patricky Pitbull 100%. 15 knockout wins. I mean, he's fought some big names like Michael Chandler twice, Eddie Alvarez, Derek Anderson twice, Marcin Held, and Benson Henderson. I mean, the man's just an absolute beast 100%. Not really sure what happened right there. But main way he's trying to get the win, obviously, he's going to be by knockout in the first or second round. Super powerful straight right hand, and his right hooks are absolutely amazing. spinning back fists, spinning, I don't know, kicks, flying knees, everything like that. Patrick Bable is just absolutely amazing at doing that stuff. Really, really good power as well, and very good takedown defense as well. Peter Quilley is also a striker. Not the most power in his hands as well, with only 2 knockout wins on his record. But really good outside leg kicks as well. Which will be an advantage for him in the leg kick department against Patrick Bable. To kind of diminish the movement of Patrick Bable. But it's going to come at a cost. You land those leg kicks every single time. I've watched it every single time he lands those leg kicks. His hands are right here. His hands are not right here where they need to be. Patrick Bable is going to land a big right hand and probably knock him out in the first or second round right there. He does have some pretty good feints and really good right hands. Good uppercuts and knees in the clinch as well. But in my opinion, again, his hands are way too low for my liking. In my opinion, if his hands stay a little too low, like right here, Patrick Bable is probably going to be knocking him out. So in this fight, we'll see in the fight. I don't really see much wrestling, much clinch, much grappling, anything like that. Both of these fighters don't really have any submission wins on their record so far, so I think this fight will stay on the feet, and the power advantage, the strength advantage, the speed advantage, pretty much every advantage in the striking game. Going Patrick Bable, I mean, it's pretty obvious who's going to win the fight. The only advantage Peter Quilley will have in the striking game will be at range with a high and reach advantage, but that's about it. Patrick Bable will do enough to kind of close that range and their reach and a high disadvantage and get the knockout possibly in the first round. I think it's very likely he gets a knockout here. I think either way, he's going to win the fight by 30-27, a unanimous decision in a dominant striking show, or he gets a knockout in the very first round. But that is my prediction for Patrick Bable and Peter Quilley. Patrick Bable winning the fight by first round knockout, or 30-27, a unanimous decision. After that, guys, I mean, you kind of look at the fight right here, Anthony Rumble Johnson and Jose Augusto Azevedo. You're like, oh man, I got it. It's pretty obvious. Anthony Johnson by knockout in the first or second round. It is a pretty obvious pick when you kind of look at it at first glance, but do not count out Jose Augusto Azevedo. Also has a lot of power in his hands, and if he lands just one shot with that crazy right hand, 5 knockout wins could put you to sleep. So if it's a light heavyweight or a heavyweight fight, it is never over. Jose Augusto Azevedo always is gonna have a chance with that big right hand right here, but it's gonna be pretty obvious who's gonna win the fight. But other than that big right hand landing from Jose Augusto Azevedo, I don't really see any other chance for Jose to actually win the fight. Anthony Rumble Johnson having the reach advantage, having the power advantage, not necessarily the age advantage, but having the experience advantage, fighting so many guys in the light heavyweight division. Daniel Cormier, Glover Teixeira, Ryan Bader, Jimmy Manuwa, Daniel Cormier again, Alexander Gustafsson, Antonio Rogerio Nogueira, Phil Davis, Mike Kyle, Andrei Arlovsky, all these guys inside the UFC, Vitor Belfort, Josh Koscheck, surprisingly, in the welterweight division. That is just absolutely insane. But if you look at how he loses his fights, second round we're naked, first round we're naked, and third round we're naked, and then you look right here, and then a second round we're naked. Every single one of his losses coming by rear and naked choke submission. That is his only weakness, is the grappling and submission. He gives his back up so easily. That is another place that Jose Augusto Azevedo could take advantage of and get Anthony Johnson to the ground and try to get a rear and naked choke submission. That's the only way, other than the knockout in the striking game, and that I see Jose Augusto Azevedo really having any sort of chance in this fight right here. But overall, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, come on, Anthony Johnson is a powerful puncher, so much power, a reach advantage, a power advantage, some pretty good takedown defense as well. 16 knockout wins, knocking out all these guys right here, absolutely insane. I don't know, man. I just don't see. I don't really see much of an advantage in any department of the game for Jose Augusto Azevedo. But it is an MMA fight. Anything can happen. Jose Augusto Azevedo is also a powerful puncher and could land just one shot and put Anthony Rumble Johnson away. But overall, I'm definitely going Anthony Rumble Johnson to go out there, keep the fight on the feet, and land a big rumble right hand and get the knockout in the first or second round. So 100% in the co-main event, in the tournament quarterfinals, I 100% have Anthony Rumble Johnson winning the fight by knockout in the very first round. After that, guys, for the Bellator MMA Bantamweight Championship, Juan Archuleta and Sergio Pettis. This is a really good fight. We got 33.5 years old, Juan Archuleta, a little bit taller, and then the same inch race right there. A very even fight in my opinion. I'm not really too sure what the betting odds are right here. So minus 145 and then a plus 124. A really close fight on the betting odds right there. I mean, Juan Archuleta and Sergio Pettis both have really good striking with some good submission in the bottom as well. Amazing takedown defense from Juan Archuleta. We saw him in his last fight with Patchy Mace. He looked really, really good in the grappling and wrestling defense against Patchy Mace, who has a lot of submission wins on his record so far. If you go way down here, 11 knockout wins and 13 decision wins. He's trying to get the fight on the feet, and he's trying to get a knockout or win the fight by decision. Sergio Pettis, 20 wins and 5 losses. You go way down here, not a finisher, 3 knockout wins, 4 submission wins, and 13 decision wins. His main way to win the fight, make it a technical striking fight, and win the fight by decision. And then obviously Juan Archuleta trying to get the knockout in the first or second round. It should be a really good fight right here. Juan Archuleta, in my opinion, will have the cardio advantage and will be more likely to go all 5 rounds in this main event right here. Amazing head movement from both fighters. They both have a really good head movement. Has some decent power with his jab, and then that straight overhand left. I mean, that is an amazing strike, and that Juan Archuleta takes advantage of in every single one of his fights. Has achieved more than half of his wins coming by finish, mainly by KO TKO in the first or second round. A nasty right hand to the body and left kick to the body as well. Good submission defense and very strong wrestling game as well, and amazing ground and pound as well. I mean, it's a close fight. I mean, it could go either way. Who is going to have the better striking, in my opinion, will win the fight. I don't really think we'll see much grappling, much wrestling from either fighter right here. But Sergio Pettis, very solid takedown defense of 70%. Good wrestling of his own with 40% takedown accuracy and amazing striking accuracy of 70% right here. Not a powerful fighter with only 4 knockout wins on his record so far. But really technical striker. Again, not gonna have the cardio advantage over Archuleta in the fight. Not necessarily gonna have the strength advantage over Archuleta in the fight. Archuleta just needs to pour on that pressure on Sergio Pettis, get his back to the cage, and that's where he will have the advantage right here. Sergio Pettis is a very technical striker, and at range might have a slight advantage right there. But Juan Archuleta, if he can kind of close the distance and make it more of a close fight in the clinch, he could probably win the fight by decision or get a knockout in the first or second round. And then solid grappling submissions from the bottom as well. And a very fast, durable striker, only being knocked out once in his pro MMA career. It's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a really close fight in the bantamweight division for the bantamweight belt right here in the main event. In a 5-round fight. 5-round, guys. Juan Archuleta, his cardio is amazing. I think the first, second, third rounds are going to be really close. But in the 4th and 5th round, if it does go to the 4th and 5th round, Juan Archuleta will come back and look amazing in those later rounds right here because he's amazing cardio. And his striking is also really good. Amazing power in his hands with 11 wins or 10 wins on his record. Coming by KO TKO. Really good power in his hands as well. Good kicks from both fighters as well. Sergio Pettis also has some really good striking and some really good head movement as well. Man, it's a close fight. It's a really close fight. This is one fight I probably wouldn't bet on the fight. It's just such a close technical striking fight. Could go either way. Just who's gonna have the better night on the day of the fight for Bellator 258, and I think that person will be Juan Archuleta. He's a little bit stronger of a fighter in the clinch, a little bit more powerful. I think that pressuring of Juan Archuleta against the cage of Sergio Pettis will be a humongous advantage for Juan Archuleta in the fight. At range, I think Sergio Pettis will have a slight advantage, but that little advantage is nowhere near the advantage in the clinch, in the power, in the strength that Juan Archuleta will have in the clinch and in the pressuring abilities from Juan Archuleta in the fight. So in the overall, this fight will stay mostly in the clinch, and overall 100% will stay in the striking game or in the clinch game in the fight. So overall, I will be going Juan Archuleta to go out there and possibly get a knockout in the second round, but most likely win the fight by 49-46 unanimous decision for the Bellator MMA bantamweight champion right here. But 100% I have shown Juan Archuleta winning the fight by unanimous decision.